Welcome to another edition of the Ultra Distance Runner channel. We are uploading videos like the one you're about to see all the time, so please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Righty ho, good afternoon, good morning, evening, wherever you may be, whatever you are doing. I am here at the Brighton Marathon with Mr. Steve Edwards, the man behind the machine. So first of all, Steve, how did your race go today?
The race today, very pleased, around 3:33, but pretty much even pace most of the way around, so I'm very pleased about that. The weather was brilliant, not too warm, sunny, crowds were brilliant, as they always are at Brighton. So yeah, it's another step nearer to the goal, and yeah, average finish time still well within where I'd like it to be, and touch wood, just got to keep going, no injuries, stay healthy and fit, and yeah, just try and keep ticking them off as best I can, really.
Exactly that. No, well, when I saw you today, I saw you twice, didn't I? Yeah. You looked really strong. You were, kept pretty close to the 3:30 marker. So, and you looked like you finished it strong as well. So, another one ticked off. 931 now, is it?
931.
Wow,
yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
So,
for those of you that are watching this that don't know who Steve Edwards is and doesn't know what the man behind the machine is, can you just give them a very brief explanation as to exactly what it is that you're attempting to do, and how close you are to it, for example?
So the goal, the mission, is to try and become the first person ever to run 1,000 official marathon races with an average finish time under 3.5 hours. Currently the average finish time is just under 3 hours 20 minutes. I'll probably go over the 3:20. I'm losing about a second a race now, but if we can keep it around the 3:21 mark, and yeah, like I say, it's just a case of trying to stay fit, healthy, keep the training going, keep the momentum going. It's been difficult, obviously, with the last couple of years with the COVID situation.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah. How's that affected things?
Well, initially, the first few weeks of the lockdown really gave me an opportunity to sort of have a good rest, I suppose, and I kind of embraced it at first. But the longer it went on, the more I realised that without regular marathon racing, it was the momentum was disappearing. Yeah. And of course, it was very difficult to gauge training and how far and how much to train, because you didn't really know when the races were going to be back on
That's
again.
Right, yeah.
So, and of course, when they did start up, I maintained quite a good level of fitness, fortunately, but my marathon fitness had gone, had slipped, and not only that, but my marathon recovery had also kind of deserted me a little bit. So at first it was like start back at one a month, one every few weeks, and it's taken quite a long time to get that momentum going again, to be able to run one every week or every couple of weeks. So just about there now, I think.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed, hopefully, we can continue and we don't get any more variants and lockdowns and any more in the way. So,
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
On that one as well, wherever there's some wood. Yeah, well, I've seen your most recent results. I'm obviously following you, as a lot of people are on Facebook, and it seems like you're definitely back in the groove again. You're just kind of bashing out these kind of 9:30s, 9:32, 33, so on and so forth. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. So you've got 69 marathons left to go to get to the 1,000.
Yeah.
How far ahead do you plan your marathons?
I used to plan quite well in advance, up to 6 months, but at the moment I'm planning around 3 months in advance. So I pretty much know where I'm going to be running now up to the end of June. So I think it's important to know. It's good for me that I can sort of see where the progress is going to be coming, in the next few weeks, months, and then have an idea of where I'm going to be by the end of the year. Now, if it hadn't been for COVID, this year was ultimately where I wanted to finish the 1,000 and achieve the goal. It's my 60th birthday year, but I reckon I've lost something like over 40 marathons, I think, over that time.
Wow.
So the new plan really is to try and get it done, if I can, by mid-2024. So that'll be my 62nd birthday year, and
Wow.
Just hope, like I say, that just keep going, because yeah, they don't get any easier. That's for
No,
sure.
I bet they do. That's the other thing I was going to ask. So as you are getting a little bit older, you finding that it's harder and harder to kind of, you know, you're obviously, I'm sure you're not going at full pelt, like 100% eyeballs out. But I'm sure you're getting closer and closer to do that, just to kind of get the, you know, the keep within the 3:30-ish time frame.
Yeah, I mean, it's all my running really from sort of very early on in my running career. I decided and made a sort of pact with myself that I would always give it 95+%. Obviously not wiping myself out completely to injury, because obviously trying to achieve something like this you need to reserve a little bit, but I didn't want to just try and do it in a way that meant, you know, I wasn't giving it my best and wasn't running my should we say, the best times that I could run. You know, I like to look myself in the mirror at the end of every race. Think I gave that pretty much everything I had at the time on any given day.
It's amazing. It's just incredible that you can do.
You know, the key thing is recovery really, and that's probably just as important, if not more important, than maintaining the fitness element of it in the training. So, you know, good nutrition, plenty of sleep, hydration. Looking after yourself, so daily use of the roller, you know, that kind of thing. You know, it's really attention to detail all the time. So it's literally, you know, running a marathon most weeks. That's what people see, but it's all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that is probably more important than turning up and running the actual marathon. So
yeah, it's almost like the marathon running. It's not easy, but it's like there's so much that goes on. I can quite imagine.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask you? So, which one have you run the most? Can you think?
I can, yeah, I can answer that quite easily. It's London Marathon.
Oh wow!
24 times.
Wow!
Should have been 25 last year.
Oh my God! There can't be many people that have done that.
Oh,
Any?
I think there's probably a few. There's what they call the ever-present list, and I think there's a few on there.
Okay.
Not loads, but I always had it in my head if it gets to 25 Londons.
Oh, wow.
Then that would be pretty good going. Again, it's getting ever harder to get in.
Yes, yes, it is, isn't it?
In fact, I can't even manage the qualifying time for my age at the moment. But when I'm about 60 later this year, fingers crossed.
There you go.
I'll be in another category, and the time that I need to get into London automatically, hopefully, will be better to achieve. So, fingers crossed, I'm hopefully going to be running London maybe next year, if not the year after. So
Fantastic.
we'll see. Yeah.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Yeah. Oh, wow. I'll definitely have to come watch you with that one as well.
Yeah.
I noticed quite a few of your marathons are organised. Is it satellite running?
Oh, Saturn.
Saturn.
Yeah.
Saturn running. So tell me a little bit
Well,
about them.
as well as the running, I try and plan logistically the ones that are probably closer to home than most marathons. I mean, obviously I love coming to Brighton, like going to Manchester, like going to London. The big city marathons are brilliant, but to try and do something like that every week, well, they're not on in the UK every week anyway. There's expense to think about, and there's obviously logistics of travelling and staying over. So if I can run more local races, or races that are achievable within a day, then obviously that helps to keep the expenses down, and also just the sheer amount of travelling just adds to the overall tiredness. And you know, if I can get to a race and then get back and have a kit before evening dinner, then that makes such a big difference. So Saturn do a lot of races around the North London area. Running Miles are another events company, and they do quite a number of events around the area as well. So if I can take advantage of those, then you know I will do. They are lower key events, you know, typically maybe anywhere between 50 and 100 runners. So obviously harder to stay motivated in those kind of events, but just as well organised, and you know they're all official races still. So,
and you've won quite a few of them, haven't you?
well, you don't tend to get the elite runners turning up to do the lower key races. Maybe the lack of prize money has something to do with that. But yeah, so I take those victories with a pinch of salt, but I'm not going to to say you're still winning you can still turn up and win a race when you're nearly 60. I think
I was just about to
I'll
say
take
that.
I'll take that as just a nice little bonus.
As I would too,
yeah.
absolutely. Okay, so this is going to be probably impossible to answer, but I'll ask it anyway. With so many marathons that you've done, is there any that stand out as your favourite, or are there any that stand out as like that was the best, my most favourite, or the most picturesque, or there are like a handful?
There's a handful really, and I think most people would agree they've got marathons that they might have run their PB on.
Yeah.
For instance, Stockholm for me.
Yeah. 2 hours 51.
2 hours 51, yeah.
51.
So I've got to sort of put that in there as one of my favourites. But it's it's all for different reasons. Big city marathons in general, London, New York, Chicago. I love all those type of events, but then I couldn't run one like that every week because God, blimey, wear you out even more than I am worn out. So some of the other marathons that I've enjoyed are really picturesque or scenic marathons. So I've ran on the Isles of Scilly, I've ran up in Tromsø in Norway, Midnight Sun Marathon.
Wow, yeah.
These are really special events because of where they are and what you experience in terms of the scenery and the country that you're in. Sometimes some of the remotest marathons I've ran up in the Hebrides, on the Isle of Harris and Lewis. These are spectacular places to run. Very low-key events, but good marathons for different reasons, basically.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think I would say my most favourite marathons are the ones where there's not hordes and hordes of crowds of people, where you are kind of out in nature a little bit more.
Exactly.
It's
and I think for me that's one of the reasons why I do run. It's not simple. It's not purely about trying to achieve things and performing and what have you. It's just to sort of enjoy being active and getting outdoors and being close to nature. That's I suppose that's ultimately one of the reasons why when I first started running, why I'm stuck at it, because I just great not only physical benefits but huge mental benefit as well. So
it's almost like medicine, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You touched on your diet earlier. How strict are you when it comes to what you put in your body, food-wise?
Strict as in, plenty of fruit and veg every day, and also making sure that I'm getting the correct nutrients I know my body needs. I do use supplements as well. I basically give my body every opportunity to perform as best and recover also as well, which is important.
That was going to be my next question.
And I think at the end of the day, it's, as I say, the stuff that goes on in the background with training and recovering and whatever, and nutrition does play a big part of that. And the other big factor with all of this, performing and the quality and the quantity is important, but for me, in trying to achieve something like this, the longevity is massively important. In fact, that's probably the most important, because I've been running races now for over 40 years, and if I can keep that going and achieve this record, when you think of how long you have to keep your body physically and mentally healthy over that long period of time, that's been a huge challenge. So I'll try and nutrition and everything like that, just try and give it every opportunity to to repay me, if you like. So
I don't think a lot of people just realise just how. You guys done 931 marathons, and they're all official marathons. It's not just like, it's not including training runs. And I was thinking the other day, if you did one every single week, it would still take you 20 something years. It's just ridiculous. It's just crazy. It's
mad.
Not crazy, but it's awesome.
It is. When you look back at it, you don't really think about it at the time, but it's only when you sort of take a step back and you look at it, you say, well, what does that equate to? How often do you run them? How long have you run them for? I actually picked up the momentum for doing this kind of thing in 1988. So we're looking at 34 years ago. And I've worked out that on average I've ran an official marathon race every 13 days for the last 34 years. I mean,
that's just incredible.
I can't even
No.
I can't even believe that that's what it comes down to, and you've kept your body going all of that time. That's what I find.
I don't think anyone's ever going
hard.
to beat your record. I can't see it happening because I just can't see it happening. In terms of what you do, you're running in between marathons. What kind of training do you? Are you doing mostly easy pace kind of recovery runs, easy pace kind of long runs, or do you do any speed sessions or intervals or hero peaks or anything like that? What kind of running are you doing?
I think up until COVID hit, up until 2 or 3 years ago, I was trying to maintain. I wasn't doing any long runs because didn't really need to do that. But I was trying to maintain a certain amount of quality, so I would do a tempo run every week, usually about 10k, and I'd also then try and do either an interval session or a hill rep session. I'd never do both. And then in between those during the week, I'd just do sort of slow and steady runs. I have picked up a bit of a hamstring niggle, which can come and bite me occasionally. So I've had to step up a lot of my strength training, which is another thing I've done for years and years, to try and keep the body strong. So I've stepped up more of that, if you like, and I've had to forgo a little bit on the quality training. So I'll still try and do a tempo run most weeks, but things like hill reps and interval sessions, I've had to really I've had to take them out of the equation for the time being. That's not to say I wouldn't want to go back to them, but it's really trying to get that balance right, trying to get the best out of my body without breaking it, trying to maintain the sort of performances again without getting into that other side where you end up with an injury or a niggle that just makes you very, very easy. Such a fine line. I reckon I run with a marathon most weeks. I'm running, if I tend to run a marathon during the week, then it's going to be around just under 50 mile a week, I reckon, with the training I'm doing.
Wow.
So that's most weeks, and then if I don't run a marathon in any week, then I'd say I typically run 35 to 40 miles in that week. It doesn't sound a lot, but I guess when it's every single week, and it's pretty full on.
It is a lot. I think anyone that's a runner out there will realise just how much, just phenomenal. It's just incredible. Right, I've got a few more questions. I obviously met your fantastic wife.
Teresa. She's come on here actually. Talk about the life as a marathon runner's partner.
It must. I mean, she's phenomenal. She's supported you for all this time and come with you to all the races.
People can't underestimate just how invaluable support is from friends and family. Just having somebody by your side who is devoted in the way that Teresa is, and what she's given up in terms of her own time and commitment over many, many, many years. I think I can count on one hand how many races that she hasn't been at.
It's incredible.
And that for me, I call us Team Edwards because I see this ultimately as a real team effort. Okay, Teresa's not running the marathons, but she's there at the start, she's there at the finish, she hangs around, she waits, she gives me drinks on courses where she can. And just knowing that when I finish that race, I've got her, to sort of come back to and be there and to travel with as well. Because someone on their own, travelling on their own and doing all this on their own, that's hard work mentally. And having Teresa there, and someone who's running a marathon herself, so she knows what to put myself through, that's important as well. So, it's very, very important.
She's been brilliant. I mean, she was very, very polite to me when I met her today earlier on. She was sitting there and I was thinking, I should go over and ask Vinny, shouldn't I? Wait for Steve, yep. Oh, good for you. Okay, so we're almost at the end of this. Your 1000th marathon, I already know the answer to this because I asked Teresa earlier. So at the moment, you haven't got an idea of where that's going to be.
I can say more than likely it will be in the UK. In fact, I'm pretty certain it's going to be in the UK, mainly because I would like it accessible by I mean, over the years, I've made so many friends, you know, so many people. I'm talking probably hundreds, if not thousands of people who I've met over the years. I'd like it to be an event that is so inclusive, and I want everybody who I know, even people there I don't know, people who have followed me, people who have supported me, everyone to be there, and it would just be so nice to get everybody together on that day and make it not just special because it's the 1000th, but special because I want it to be a celebration of a fantastic sport that that we all enjoy. So yeah, UK. If I said when, I'm going to go for the summer of 2024. That would be ideal. Hopefully we'll get good weather.
Race organisers out there, so there you go. If you want to put on a special marathon, a marathon just for this guy, and the thousands of people that will come with it, then that's your opportunity. It could just be an event just for your 1000th marathon. There's probably an entry list of still about 3,000 people, because that's how many people I'm sure are going to turn up.
Yeah.
Okay, and then finally, tell us about your book and where people can get it.
So a few years ago I did put pen to paper, and a good friend of mine, Helen Summer, who's the author of this, she turned it into my biography, which was great, because I wrote something like 200,000 words, which would have made a book about that thick. She said, you can't write books that thick, no one will read them. So she condensed it all and put in all the bits that she thought that were going to be important. It's called The Man Inside the Machine. It basically details everything about my life, how I got into running, my childhood, the sort of things that I went through in childhood with bullying, and probably some of the reasons why I actually got into running in the first place, which is very important. I know a lot of people over the years have said how they can relate to that, what's happened in their childhood has kind of got them into sport and that kind of thing.
Myself included, I have read the book and it's definitely worth getting.
And so yeah, it's on Amazon. It's a little bit more expensive on Amazon, but if people want to contact me through Facebook, I'm at Team Edwards 1000, and if they want to message me, I'm happy to sign up a personal copy for anyone with a personal message. Sort of send it on to them myself. So yeah.
Brilliant. Superb. Well, it was good to finally meet you.
Thank
the man
you.
inside the machine.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you for the interview.
No, you're welcome, and congratulations on your run today. Absolutely sterling performance yet again. And where's the next few marathons? Where are you up to next?
Next weekend we've got Easter weekend at home, which I can't wait, because we've been on the road now for the last 6 weeks, which I'm not complaining about. It's been brilliant to finally get back to regular weekly marathons. But next week we're going to enjoy ourselves.
Good man.
After that, yeah, I'm pacing at Milton Keynes Marathon early May, which we're looking forward to. And then Worcester Marathon and a few of the lower key marathons, and then the big city marathon. I'm sure that they're going to kick off again in autumn. So maybe we'll get up to Paul to name one. And as I say, hopefully we'll get back to London next year. Yeah, we'll see. Well,
I'm looking forward to watching it all unfold on Facebook, and never know, I might end up meeting you, running with you at one of them eventually when I
hopefully, yes, let's hope so. Yeah.
But that was the man inside the machine, Steve Edwards, 931 marathons with an average finish time of around about 3 hours 20 minutes. Absolutely unbelievable. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, thank you.